When Britain declared war on Germany in 1939, the news sent shockwaves across Canada. In cities and small towns alike, people gathered around radios and read newspaper headlines, realizing that the world was once again at war. The sense of uncertainty was palpable, but so too was a growing determination to stand with the Allies. Canada made its own independent decision to join the fight, demonstrating resolve against Nazi aggression. Prime Minister Mackenzie King addressed the nation, emphasizing Canada's autonomy and commitment to defending freedom. Parliament quickly moved to support the war effort, marking a new chapter in Canadian history. Canadians from coast to coast answered the call, transforming factories to produce weapons, vehicles, and aircraft vital to the Allied effort. Men and women alike took up new roles, working long hours to ensure the troops had what they needed. The home front became a hive of activity, with communities rallying together for victory. The British Commonwealth Air Training Plan, hosted largely in Canada, trained over 130,000 aircrew, making Canada the aerodrome of democracy. Airfields sprang up across the country, and young recruits from many nations learned to fly in Canadian skies, forging bonds that would last a lifetime. Canadian industry supplied vast quantities of food, raw materials, and military vehicles to Britain and the Allies. Trains and ships carried these essential supplies across the Atlantic, helping to sustain those fighting on the front lines and civilians enduring the hardships of war. The Royal Canadian Navy played a crucial role in the Battle of the Atlantic, escorting convoys and combating U-boats to keep supply lines open. Canadian sailors braved dangerous waters, facing constant threats from enemy submarines, and their courage helped turn the tide in the Allies' favor. Canadian soldiers gained hard-won experience in earlier campaigns, including the costly Dieppe raid and the Italian campaign. These battles tested their resolve and taught valuable lessons, shaping a force that would be ready for even greater challenges ahead. These battles forged a battle-hardened Canadian army, ready for the immense challenges of Normandy. Training intensified, and the spirit of determination grew stronger as D-Day approached. By D-Day, Canada had become a formidable force, essential to the Allied war effort. The nation's sacrifices and contributions would soon be put to the ultimate test on the beaches of Normandy, forever shaping Canada's legacy in the Second World War. As the Allies meticulously planned Operation Overlord, the largest amphibious invasion in history, every detail was scrutinized to ensure success. The stakes were immense, and the outcome would shape the future of Europe. Canada prepared its 3rd Infantry Division and 2nd Armoured Brigade for a pivotal role in the assault. These units would be at the forefront of the invasion, representing Canada's commitment to the Allied cause. Months of intense and exhausting training in Britain readied Canadian troops for the challenges ahead. They practiced amphibious assaults, learned to coordinate with tanks and artillery, and adapted to the unpredictable conditions of the English Channel. Soldiers practiced storming beaches under simulated enemy fire, clearing obstacles and working closely with engineers to breach defenses. Every exercise was designed to prepare them for the chaos and danger of real combat. Logistical preparations were immense, with vast stores of equipment, ammunition and supplies assembled for the invasion. Every item, from rations to medical kits, was carefully accounted for to support the troops once they landed. Secrecy was paramount. Elaborate deception plans, including fake units and misleading radio traffic, aimed to mislead the Germans about the invasion's true location and timing. The Canadians were assigned Juno Beach, a sector with dangerous shoals, heavily fortified villages, and formidable German defenses. The risks were high, but the objective was clear. Under the leadership of Major General Rod Keller, the 3rd Division faced the daunting task of securing the beachhead and pushing inland to key objectives like the Carpiquet airfield, vital for the success of the entire operation. The weight of expectation was heavy, and the sense of responsibility was profound. But Canadian resolve was unwavering. Each soldier understood the significance of their mission. As D-Day approached, every soldier knew the importance of the mission ahead. The fate of the invasion, and perhaps the war itself, rested on their courage and determination. In the early hours of June 6, 1944, as dawn broke over the English Channel, Canadian troops prepared for a mission that would change the course of history. They boarded their landing craft in silence, the weight of anticipation heavy in the air, and set out toward Juno Beach, joining thousands of Allied soldiers as part of the largest seaborne invasion ever attempted. The vast armada stretched as far as the eye could see, a testament to months of planning and cooperation among allied nations. The journey across the choppy waters was tense and uncomfortable. Soldiers were packed tightly into the landing craft, seasick and anxious, bracing for their first taste of combat. Many wrote last letters home, uncertain if they would return. As Normandy's coastline finally appeared through the morning haze, Allied warships and bombers unleashed a massive bombardment on German defenses, shaking the very ground and filling the air with smoke and thunder. Despite this overwhelming firepower, the enemy remained deeply entrenched and ready, manning fortified bunkers and machine gun nests, determined to repel the invasion at all costs. The approach to the beach was perilous. Submerged obstacles and treacherous reefs forced many landing craft to halt far from shore, leaving soldiers to wade through cold, chest-deep water under relentless enemy fire. The higher tide at Juno that morning covered even more obstacles, making the engineers' job of clearing paths through mines and metal traps even more dangerous and urgent. Amid chaos, confusion, and a hail of bullets, the Canadians pressed forward with remarkable courage, supported by the Royal Canadian Navy's close and accurate fire support from offshore. Their determination and bravery in the face of overwhelming adversity set the tone for the day's fierce battles, inspiring all who witnessed their advance on Juno Beach. As landing craft ramps dropped, the 7th and 8th Canadian Infantry Brigades charged into a storm of machine gun and mortar fire. German defences at Juno were formidable. Pillboxes, barbed wire, and fortified houses turned the beachfront into a deadly maze. The first wave suffered heavy casualties, but Canadian soldiers pressed on, fighting for every inch of ground. Close-quarters combat was brutal, with grenades and bayonets used to clear enemy strongpoints. Amphibious Sherman tanks provided crucial support, knocking out pillboxes and machine gun nests. Despite rough seas, those tanks that made it ashore were decisive in breaking German resistance. Small groups of Canadians, often led by junior officers, bypassed or overwhelmed enemy positions, pushing inland. The cost was high, but their tenacity never wavered. The beachhead was secured through sheer courage and determination. The battle to breach the Atlantic Wall on Juno was savage and costly. Canadians faced well-prepared German defences, trenches, bunkers, and interlocking machine gun fire. Engineers risked everything to clear mines and obstacles, enabling the advance. Units like the Queen's Own Rifles and the Royal Winnipeg Rifles faced fierce resistance, suffering heavy casualties but pushing forward relentlessly. Fighting spilled into villages and fields, with Canadians overcoming fortified positions through grit and firepower. Tanks and artillery supported the infantry, slowly tipping the balance. By mid-morning, significant breaches had been made and Canadian troops advanced toward their objective. Their courage and sacrifice were instrumental in the day's success. After breaking through the beach defences, Canadians pushed inland to secure key objectives, including the Carpiquet airfield and the approaches to Caen. The advance was fiercely contested, with German reserves counter-attacking and resistance in every village and hedgerow. Infantry and tanks worked in close coordination, fighting for every crossroads and strongpoint. By nightfall, Canadians had advanced further inland than any other Allied force on D-Day. Not all objectives were taken. The fight for Caen and Carpiquet would continue for weeks. Still, the Canadians' rapid progress established a solid beachhead and set the stage for the liberation of France. Their achievements on D-Day were a source of national pride. The success of D-Day relied on seamless cooperation among Allied forces. Canadians fought alongside British and American troops, forming a unified front across Normandy. The 3rd Canadian Infantry Division was part of the British Second Army, ensuring coordinated strategy and mutual support. Canadian units quickly linked up with British forces on Golden Sword beaches, closing gaps and consolidating gains. Throughout the Normandy campaign, Canadians and British fought side by side in major operations, forging strong bonds in battle. Air, naval, and logistical support from all Allied nations was crucial to the campaign's success. This spirit of collaboration was a key factor in the Allied victory in Normandy. The cost of victory at Juno Beach was steep. Over 1,000 Canadian casualties on D-Day, including 359 killed. The Battle of Normandy would claim more than 18,700 Canadian casualties by August 1944. These losses were deeply felt across Canada, each number representing a life cut short in the fight for freedom. Canadian sacrifices spanned all theatres of the war, with over 45,000 killed and 55,000 wounded by 1945. The impact shaped Canadian society, with memorials and enduring grief in communities nationwide. Yet there was immense pride in the courage and sacrifice of those who served. The price was high, but Canada's contribution to the defeat of tyranny was immeasurable. Their legacy endures in the nation's memory. Canada's role in D-Day and the Second World War is a cornerstone of national identity and pride. The bravery and sacrifice of Canadian soldiers on Juno Beach helped shape Canada's place in the world. Remembering these stories reminds us of the price of freedom and the importance of defending democracy. The alliances forged in war laid the foundation for Canada's ongoing commitment to peace and international cooperation. As veterans' numbers dwindle, it's our duty to carry their stories forward. Museums, memorials, and education ensure future generations understand the significance of Canada's contribution. By honoring their memory, we reaffirm our commitment to the values they fought to protect.